I am excited to hear his remarks. And as a career planner, I still feel like a planner. It's encouraging to hear that all of the efforts we've put in for many years are still there. But again, he hit some of the things that were frustrating as planners as well. So I appreciate all of your comments and the guidance on places that we will be heading to soon. So got another poll question. See if I can get this activated here. Yep, that's the right one. Let's see if we can start this poll here and see how many people will do it. We've got a question about your coworkers today, and if you miss your coworkers, and I suspect a lot of people might be D. Have you met the crazy people I worked with? This one might be a little harder. We're not getting answers as quickly. The shoe question was very, very quick. Everyone knows quick if you're having shoes on or not. So we'll let this run a little bit and see. It's completely anonymous, by the way. So if you do have crazy coworkers and you want to put that on there, you certainly can, because we can't tell who is doing it. Tim, I believe, I want to go ahead. There we go. While we're letting these polls come in here, I can see them. I don't know. Can you all see them? Well, I should have texted that in between, but I'll give some commentary here. We've got 25% of people say it's much harder to collaborate when you can't just walk down the halls. Just 9% of our respondents say that they miss the socialization at work and they're not as productive. 10% say the quiet is amazing and they are able to get so much more done. 5% say, no, have you not met the crazy people I work with? But more than half of our people, more than half of our people say that they somewhat miss their coworkers because there's pros and cons. And I believe that would be the category that I fit in as well. So let's see if we can close this poll, and I will introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is he's also at our first partnering conference with us, and Mr. Todd Jeter with the Federal Highway Administration. I was fortunate enough to meet with him back in late January. We had a lunch with some Davis County officials, the mayor and the judge there. And speaking of lunch, I've already got a consultant offer with Andy Barber to eat at it was an impressive restaurant too, and I've already forgot it. So we'll just see if anybody can beat Andy Barber's lunch offer there. But the consultant meals are going to start rolling in, I know, for you cabinet people. So let's finish introducing Todd here. And he was appointed to the division administrator for the Kentucky Division of Federal Highways in November of 2019. And he leads the administration of the Federal Highway Program in the state. And he directs a diverse staff of engineers, planners, realty, financial specialists, and support personnel. He works with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, congressional representatives, MPOs, local elected officials, and resource agencies to provide leadership and guidance in the identification of surface transportation needs and related priorities, which when implemented, they carry out the U.S. DOT's National Transportation and Safety Program goals. So I see Todd is on the screen with us, and your microphone is on, so I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with all of you today. As transportation professionals, let me start by saying, a sincere thank you for the work you've done in helping to keep our transportation assets open for the American people during this national emergency. As mentioned, this is my first partnering conference here in Kentucky, but I have attended similar events in other states, and I know the value of these type of meetings. And I will say, putting together a conference such as this is extremely challenging task under any circumstances, and is more so when you have to switch from an in-person to a virtual event. I really appreciate your efforts to hold this conference and the decision to carry on with it, just as we have made decisions to carry on with so much else during this national health crisis. When I started my job as division administrator late last year, if someone told me that we were going to be, just in a short amount of time, we were going to be sending our entire staff home for 6 months, but we'd still be expected to deliver the program as usual, I really wouldn't have believed them. But that's exactly what we have done. And I think one of the keys to our success in operating virtually has been, the great relationships that we have built over the years. Here at FHWA, we have a long history of helping to develop processes and procedures, attending project meetings, and maintaining a visible presence in the districts and of all of our partners. The virtual format has been great for maintaining our relationships and keeping in communication. But as Secretary Gray alluded to, I really still feel that these face-to-face meetings that we've had, they're critical. I've had the opportunity to meet with many of you prior to the restrictions being placed on meetings and travel, and I really look forward to getting back out there and meeting more of our partners once things open back up again. You've all been great partners and friends during these challenging times, and I've been just extremely impressed with our ability to deliver the program despite all the challenges. And I'm confident in our ability to continue the program no matter what is thrown at us. Now, I know that many of you really want to hear about the status of federal funding heading into the next federal fiscal year, which starts in just 3 weeks. As many of you are aware, Congress has not came to an agreement on a replacement to the FAST Act, and I can't predict what actions Congress may take. There does seem to be some bipartisan agreement on extending appropriations to keep the government in operations, but of course there will also need to be an extension of the FAST Act to allow FHWA to continue to operate. There's been a lot of precedents for an authorization act being extended, as our last 4 authorizations were extended until new bill could be finalized, and this has been anywhere from a few months to a few years where we've seen extensions of prior authorization acts. Reauthorization faces some unprecedented challenges as Congress needs to find additional sources of funding to maintain the Highway Trust Fund, or will need to bolster the fund with an infusion of other funds, which it has done in the past. Again, I can't predict what actions that Congress may take. Whatever legislation is enacted, it will need to be implemented quickly and effectively. And we all need to be prepared for whatever may happen and whatever gets thrown at us. We certainly appreciate the challenges many of you are facing with managing transportation systems and constructing infrastructure projects while safeguarding your employees and the communities that they serve. These are unprecedented times, and we're dealing with things we've never had to contemplate before. The challenge of having the vast majority of our workforce teleworking, the impacts of stay-at-home orders and social distances are having on the operation of our transportation system and the construction of infrastructure projects. And from a federal perspective, it's the different approaches that each state is taking to protect their workforce and the public. When I look back over the last 6 months, I'm really struck by the actions that states and the actions that FHWA has taken to be able to assist the public and offer greater flexibility to our employees. One of our sayings here is at FHWA is we've always said, safety is our #1 priority. And as much as we have that firm belief in safety and infrastructure and other traditional issues, the recent crisis has also demonstrated our belief in helping the American public and our commitment to our employees. And I believe that this is going to be a lasting legacy for all of us. I would like to share some national statistics to help paint a picture of the impacts of the national health emergency has had on our transportation system. And looking back to a point during this past year when a majority of the country was closed and comparing it to the same time period from the previous year, subway ridership was down 90%, Commuter rail ridership was down 95%. Amtrak bookings and ridership was also down 95%. Urban bus system ridership was down 65%. And domestic airlines had cut flights between 70 and 90%. Data from the first full week of April indicated that interstate travel was down 47% compared to the same week a year ago. And that's about 7.8 billion fewer miles traveled during that week. Data from a week in early June indicated a 21% decrease, or 3.7 billion mile reduction from last year. And this shows that travel has started to pick up, but we're still not quite back to 2019 levels. As the national emergency continues, we've heard from many stakeholders about decreases in state revenue and the ripple effects that these decreases may have on staffing and programs. While some states have taken immediate actions to furlough staff, postpone projects, or delay maintenance, others are holding steady for the near term. However, almost every state out there has expressed budget concerns in the next 6 months to a year, as revenue decreases will begin to more clearly manifest itself in day-to-day operations. I speak with Secretary Gray and KYTC leadership on a regular basis, and funding is always on the forefront of everybody's minds. And I know that KYTC has already had to make some tough decisions. Since federal gasoline tax is collected at the wholesale level, the first noticeable decline in highway revenue at the federal level didn't occur until April. Highway trust fund receipts from the beginning of April to the end of May have ranged from 26% to as much as 47% down from the same time last year. Now, as you can imagine, this has a substantial impact on the solvency of the trust fund in the fiscal year to come. This may go without saying, but we understand that the funding uncertainty that many of you are facing, especially with the expiration of the FAST Act in just a few weeks. As I previously stated, I can't predict what actions Congress may take, but I can tell you everyone is aware of the FAST Act expiration, and there has generally been bipartisan support for infrastructure for some time now. A long-term reauthorization, which provides predictable funding for planning and programming efforts, is perhaps more critical now than it's ever been. The best advice I can offer right now is to be ready. As the national emergency continues to evolve, know that we're all in this together. Despite the majority of our staff teleworking, FHWA staff across the nation are still working hard to support our state, local, tribal, and other federal partners to deliver the Fed Aid Highway program. Kind of in conclusion, I just want to let everyone know that they should know that we stand ready to assist you in any way we can. We share the goal of working together to protect the safety of the public and the workers who are tasked with building, operating, and maintaining our transportation systems. With that, thanks again for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. It's been a real pleasure. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to the time when I can get back out there and meet with more of you. So, thank you.
technical difficulties. Let's see if I can get this slide off. There we go. So I was getting back early after the secretary, but it took me 3 or 4 times to get back on this time. Thank you, Todd, for those remarks. Our federal funding is critical for keeping our highway program moving, and we're ready. We are ready, and we're trying to get more ready so that we're even more ready. But we'll take that funding as soon as you all can, as soon as it's ready. So I know everyone's anxious to hear our next poll question. I think this is a little easier than the last one, more in line with the one we had first. Here it is. We'll publish that.